The great meeting hall of the Galactic Concord buzzed with the sounds of 1,000 different species. Some floated in the air like glowing bubbles. Others moved on many legs across the polished floor. Some didn't even have bodies that humans could understand. In the middle of all these strange beings stood Commander Ilara Chen. She was the only human in the room. Chen was tall for a human with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. Her blue uniform had the Earth flag on one shoulder. She stood straight and proud, but inside she felt very alone. The Galactic Concord had existed for 3,000 years. It had laws and rules created long before humans had even left their planet. Earth was called a Class 12 death world by the aliens. This meant it was one of the most dangerous planets known to have intelligent life. Most alien species would die quickly on Earth because of its gravity, dangerous animals, extreme weather, and even the oxygen in its air, which was poisonous to many. When humans finally built ships that could travel faster than light 10 years ago, the aliens of the Concord were surprised. They had not expected creatures from such a deadly planet to reach the stars. They allowed humans to join as associate members, which meant humans could trade and learn, but not vote on important matters. Chen watched as the current speaker, High Counselor Vrax, finished addressing the crowd. Vrax was a Medusan with purple skin and tentacles that moved constantly around its speaking mouth. And now, Vrax announced, we recognize Ambassador Zivak of the Zalaxian Collective. A tall being moved to the center of the room. It looked like a walking crystal statue, with light reflecting off its many surfaces. Zalaxians were a hive mind species. Each individual shared thoughts with all others of their kind. Esteemed members of the Concord, Zivak began, its voice making a sound like wind chimes. We bring grave news. The humans have violated our territory near the planet Tellus 9. The room erupted in shocked whispers. Chen felt her heart beat faster. This was a lie. Earth forces had strict orders to stay away from Zalaxian space. We have proof, Zivak continued. A large screen appeared in the air above the hall. It showed human ships moving into a region marked with Zalaxian symbols. The ships fired weapons at a small outpost, destroying it completely. Chen stood up immediately. This is false, she shouted. Those are not Earth vessels. High Counselor Vrax turned all 7 of its eyes toward her. Commander Chen, you will wait your turn to speak. But the evidence is clearly fabricated, Chen insisted. Look at how those ships move. No human pilot flies like that. It was true. The ships in the recording moved with perfect precision, like machines. Human pilots, even with computer assistance, never flew in such rigid patterns. Zivak's crystal body flashed with blue light, a sign of anger among Zalaxians. Are you suggesting we created this footage? That we destroyed our own outpost and killed 37 of our people? I'm suggesting someone is trying to frame humanity, Chen replied. We request time to investigate this incident properly. Vrax's tentacles twisted in a gesture that Chen had learned meant disapproval. The Council has already reviewed the evidence and found it convincing. The Zalaxians have proposed sanctions against Earth colonies. Zivak raised a crystalline arm. Not just sanctions. The human threat must be contained. We propose restricting their ships to their home system only. All human colonies must be placed under Concord supervision. Their military must be reduced by 80%. Chen couldn't believe what she was hearing. These measures would effectively end human expansion into space and place Earth under alien control. This is outrageous, she said. We've followed every rule the Concord has set for us for 10 years. We've shared our technology, followed your restrictions, and been peaceful neighbors. And now, based on one piece of obviously fake evidence, you want to cripple our entire civilization? A representative of the Plavarians, bird-like aliens with feathers that changed color to show their emotions, spoke up. Their feathers were currently deep red, showing fear. Humans come from a world where everything tries to kill everything else. Their bodies contain metals that would poison most of us. Their history is full of war. Perhaps the Zalaxians are right to be cautious. Chen looked around the room. She saw many aliens nodding in agreement. For 10 years, humans had tried to prove they belonged among the stars. They had followed rules that often made no sense, accepted restrictions that no other species faced, and smiled politely through insults about their primitive Deathworld origins. And still, most of the conquered saw them as dangerous animals. Vrax called for a vote. One by one, the major powers of the conquered voted to support the Zalaxian proposal. Only 3 small species voted against it. As an associate member, Earth had no vote at all. The motion passes, Vrax announced. Earth forces will withdraw to their home system within 30 standard days. All human colonies will accept Concord peacekeepers. The human fleet will be reduced, as specified. Chen felt a cold clarity settle over her. For 10 years, humans had believed they were playing a diplomatic game when their adversaries had been playing war. Earth's government had suspected this might happen someday, which is why they had sent a military commander as their representative instead of a traditional diplomat. She stepped into the center of the Great Hall. The people of Earth reject this decision and all the authority of the Galactic Concord from this moment forward. Gasps and cries filled the room. No species had ever left the Concord in its 3,000 years of existence. You've mistaken our restraint for weakness, Chen continued, her voice carrying to every corner of the hall. That was your first mistake. She looked directly at Zavok. Your last will be assuming we'll keep playing by your rules. With those words, she turned and walked out of the chamber, leaving stunned silence behind her. As the doors closed, she activated her secure communicator. It was time to implement Contingency Plan Omega. Earth had hoped it would never be needed, but they had prepared for this day nonetheless. The war that would change the galaxy forever had just begun. 2 months had passed since Commander Chen walked out of the Galactic Concord. Earth had called all its citizens home from alien worlds. The borders were closed. No messages were sent to the Concord. Humans prepared for what might come next. Admiral Victor Okafor stood on the bridge of the EDF Dauntless, Earth's largest battleship. He was a tall man with dark skin and a scarred face from his days fighting pirates in the asteroid belt. His uniform was black with silver stars on the shoulders. Report, he ordered, looking at the large screen showing space around Jupiter. Lieutenant Park touched her control panel. All ships in position, Admiral. Defense satellites are active. Earth colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan are on full alert. Okafor nodded. Earth might have seemed quiet these past 2 months, but they had been busy. Ships that aliens thought were simple cargo vessels had revealed hidden weapon systems. Satellites officially listed as weather monitoring had activated powerful shields. Humanity had never fully trusted the Concord. Sir, called out Communications Officer Rodriguez. Incoming message from Lunar Command. The screen changed to show Commander Chen's face. She was now in charge of Earth's defense strategy. Admiral, she said, we have reports of attacks on Zalaxian outposts near Proxima Centauri. The Concord is blaming us. Okafor frowned. That's impossible. Our fleet hasn't moved beyond Saturn's orbit. Exactly, Chen replied. Someone is trying very hard to start a war between humans and the Concord. I need you to send a small team to investigate. Something doesn't add up. After the call ended, Okafor selected his best scout ship, the Sparrow, for the mission. Captain Aisha Mbeki would lead the investigation. Her ship was small, fast, and had special cloaking technology that the Concord didn't know humans had developed. Meanwhile, on the mining colony of Ceres deep in the asteroid belt, engineer Maya Takahashi was fixing a broken air filter. She was a small woman with strong hands and intelligence that had earned her the position of chief engineer, despite being only 30 years old. Maya, you should take a break, said her assistant Raj. You've been working for 10 hours straight. She wiped sweat from her forehead. Can't, if this filter fails, Section 3 loses air in less than a day. Suddenly, the station's alarms began to scream. Red lights flashed in the corridors. What's happening? Maya shouted over the noise. The station's AI answered through speakers. Warning, unknown vessels approaching. They match Concord peacekeeping ships. Maya and Raj ran to the nearest window. Outside, 5 ships with the blue and silver markings of Concord peacekeepers moved toward the station. They're not supposed to be here, Raj said, his voice shaking. Earth rejected the Concord's authority. Before Maya could respond, the ships opened fire. The station shook violently as explosions ripped through its outer sections. "Everyone to the emergency shelters," Maya shouted into her communicator. She grabbed Raj's arm. "We need to get to the maintenance tunnels. They're our best escape route." They ran through the shaking station. Other workers joined them. 20 people followed Maya as she led them to a small door hidden behind supply containers. "These tunnels run through the entire asteroid," she explained as they crawled through the narrow passage. "We can reach the emergency ships on the far side." After an hour of moving through dark tunnels, they heard strange sounds ahead. Maya signaled everyone to stop and moved forward alone. In a wider section of the tunnel, she found an injured alien. Its crystalline body was cracked and leaking, a glowing blue liquid, a Zalaxian. Maya's first instinct was to run. The Zalaxians were enemies now, but something wasn't right. Why would a Zalaxian be hiding in the tunnels of a human mining station? "Who are you?" she asked, keeping her distance, the crystal being turned slowly. Its voice chimed weakly. "I am Crystalline Song of Memory, junior diplomat to Earth before the misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" Maya almost laughed. "Your people accused us of attacking your outpost and tried to destroy our civilization." "Not my people," the Zalaxian said. "Not really." It seemed to struggle to speak. "The leadership has been changed. Something is controlling them. I discovered this and tried to warn your commander Chen, but I was caught. They sent me here to die in their attack." Maya didn't know if she should believe the alien, but one thing was clear. The Zalaxian was badly injured and needed help. At the same time, Admiral Okafor received an urgent message from Captain Mbeki's mission. "Admiral," Mbeki's voice was tense. "We've discovered something you need to see." The screen showed footage from the Sparrow's sensors. The ship had reached the destroyed Zalaxian outpost, but what they found there wasn't what anyone expected. "These aren't weapons burns," Mbeki explained, showing close-ups of the damage. "The outpost was torn apart from the inside, and we found traces of organic material that doesn't match Zalaxian biology." Okafor leaned forward. "What are you saying, Captain?" "Sir, I'm saying the Zalaxians didn't destroy their own outpost, and neither did we. Something else did. Something that wanted to frame humans." At Earth's main research center, Dr. Sarah Ndidi had been working day and night, examining intercepted Concord communications. As a top anthropologist specializing in alien cultures, she knew something was wrong with how the aliens were behaving. She burst into Commander Chen's office without knocking. "I've found it," she said, placing a datapad on the desk. Chen looked up from her work. "Found what?" "The reason everything feels wrong," Dr. Ndidi explained. "I've been analyzing speech patterns in Concord communications. Many of the alien leaders aren't speaking like themselves anymore. Their language has subtle changes, consistent across different species." She showed Chen a complex chart. These speech patterns match fragments of an ancient language, one that supposedly died out 3,000 years ago, right when the Concord was formed. Chen's eyes widened. "You're saying the alien leaders have been replaced?" Dr. Ndidi nodded grimly. "By the Murakari, a predatory species thought to be extinct. They were known for their ability to mimic other life forms. Historical records say they nearly conquered the galaxy before being defeated. If they could replace alien leaders," Chen said slowly, "why not humans?" "That's the interesting part," Dr. Ndidi replied. "Humans evolved on a death world. Our bodies are toxic to most alien life. The high levels of metals in our blood, the acid in our stomachs, even the bacteria on our skin. They make us impossible for Murakari to mimic perfectly." Chen stood up. "So they tried to eliminate the one species they couldn't infiltrate by turning the Concord against us." Both women realized the same thing. Humanity wasn't facing a diplomatic problem or even a war with the Concord. They were facing an ancient enemy that had been manipulating galactic civilization from the shadows for thousands of years. And humans, the despised Deathworlders, might be the galaxy's only hope. Admiral Okafor stood in the war room beneath Earth's North American Defense Center. The walls were lined with screens showing the positions of human ships throughout the solar system. Military leaders from Earth's major nations sat around a large table. "Ladies and gentlemen," Okafor said, "it's time to activate Protocol Lazarus." The room fell silent. Protocol Lazarus was a contingency plan developed in secret since humanity's first contact with alien life. It had been created by military leaders who never fully trusted the Conquered's peaceful intentions. General Ivanova, commander of the Eurasian forces, leaned forward. "Are we certain this is necessary?" Okafor nodded grimly. "The evidence is clear. The Mrakari have infiltrated the Conquered leadership. They've been manipulating events to isolate Earth, and now we have reports of unusual ship movements near the outer reaches of our system." He touched a control panel and a new image appeared on the main screen. It showed strange vessels moving in formation, unlike any known Concord design. "We believe these are true Murakari ships, not mimics. According to ancient records that Dr. Ndidi uncovered, they hibernate for centuries before awakening to harvest civilizations. The Concord was likely created by them as a way to control the galaxy's species. How do we fight an enemy that can look like anyone?" asked Admiral Zhao of the Pacific Alliance. Okafor smiled for the first time in days. "That's where Protocol Lazarus comes in. Computer authorization Okafor Delta 7 Echo 9. The room's lights dimmed briefly, then returned to normal. "Message sent to all installations," announced the computer's voice. "Protocol Lazarus now active. Across Earth's colonies, on Mars, the moons of Jupiter, asteroid bases, and hidden installations throughout the solar system, dormant military systems came to life. Weapons platforms disguised as scientific stations revealed their true purpose. Civilian ships transformed as hidden compartments opened to display weapon systems. For 10 years, while smiling at diplomatic functions, humans had been building defenses. Meanwhile, on Ceres Deep, Maya Takahashi had made a difficult decision. She was helping the injured Zalaxian diplomat, Crystalline Song of Memory. "Why should I trust you?" Maya asked as she sealed the alien's cracked outer shell with emergency repair gel. The substance wouldn't fully heal the crystalline being, but it would stop the leaking of its life fluids. "Because we both want to survive," the Zalaxian replied weakly. Its normally musical voice was distorted by pain. "The things controlling my people's leaders, the Mrakari, they will destroy us all. Your species is the only one they fear." "Maya, finish the emergency repairs." "There. That should hold for now." Raj approached cautiously, still uncomfortable around the alien. "Maya, the station's main systems are down, but I managed to get a message out through the emergency beacon." "No response yet." Maya nodded. "We need to keep moving. Those ships might send search parties." Crystalline Song tried to stand but fell back down. "There is something else you should know. The Mrakari are building something on this asteroid. I saw the plans before I escaped. It's beneath the surface, in the lower mining levels." "Building what?" Maya asked. "I don't know exactly," the Zalaxian answered. "But it's massive and it's nearly complete." Maya looked at Raj and the other survivors. "Change of plans. We're going down instead of up." Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Ndidi had developed a critical breakthrough. In her laboratory filled with complex equipment, she showed Commander Chen her creation. "I call it Operation Lighthouse," she explained, holding up a small device that glowed with a pulsing blue light. "It emits a specific electromagnetic frequency that causes pain to Murakari biology, but is harmless to humans and most other species." Chen picked up the device, examining it closely. "So this can detect infiltrators?" "More than that," Ndidi replied. "At higher settings, it can incapacitate them. The Murakari evolved on a world with very little natural radiation. Earth's normal background radiation is already uncomfortable for them. It's another reason they can't mimic us well. This device amplifies specific frequencies they're especially sensitive to." Chen's eyes widened with understanding. "This is why they've been trying to contain humans. Our very presence is painful to them." "Exactly," Ndidi said. "And now we have a weapon against them." In another part of the world, Commander Chen had assembled a special team of soldiers called the Phantoms. They gathered in a secure underground facility where no one could spy on them. "Your mission is critical," Chen told the 12 men and women in front of her. They wore specialized combat suits unlike standard Earth military gear. The suits could change color and texture to match their surroundings. Technology reverse-engineered from studying Deathworld predators. "We need to make contact with any Concord species who haven't been compromised by the Murakari. We know there are resistance movements forming, but they're scattered and disorganized." A soldier raised her hand. "How do we know who to trust?" Chen held up one of Ndidi's lighthouse devices. "Each of you will carry one of these. It will help you identify who is real and who is a Murakari mimic." The team's leader, Captain Asim Khan, studied the mission details on his datapad. "This is a one-way trip, isn't it? We'll be deep in enemy territory with no way back." Chen didn't sugarcoat it. "Yes, until we win this war, if we win it, you'll be on your own. But if we don't unite with the uncompromised aliens, we'll all die separately." On Ceres Deep, Maya led her group through abandoned mining tunnels toward the lower levels. Crystalline Song moved slowly, still weak from its injuries, but it insisted on continuing. "These tunnels weren't on any of the station maps," Raj commented as they moved deeper. "They wouldn't be," Maya replied. "These were dug by the first miners 50 years ago, before proper mapping began. Most people forgot they existed. After hours of careful movement, they reached a massive door that blocked the tunnel. It was made of strange metal with symbols that Maya had never seen before. "This isn't human construction," she whispered. Crystalline Song moved forward, touching the symbols with a crystalline hand. "These are ancient Murakari glyphs. This door is thousands of years old." "How is that possible?" Maya asked. "Humans only discovered this asteroid a century ago. The Murakari have been hiding across the galaxy for millennia," the Zalaxian explained. "They place dormant installations on resource-rich worlds and moons, waiting for other species to develop the Sa technology to mine them. Then they awaken and take control." Raj examined the door with his scanner. "There's a massive power source beyond this door. Whatever's in there, it's active." Maya made a decision. "We need to find a way through. If the Murakari are building something here, we need to know what it is." She opened her toolkit and began examining the door's edge, looking for weaknesses. "If we can't go through it, maybe we can go around it. These old tunnels often have side passages that were abandoned when they didn't produce minerals." As they searched the area, they found a narrow crack in the tunnel wall. Maya shined her light inside and saw that it connected to a small cavity beyond the door. "I think I can fit through," she said, removing her tool belt. "It's too dangerous," Raj protested. Maya gave him a determined look. "Everything about this situation is dangerous, but if we don't know what we're facing, we have no chance." She squeezed through the narrow opening, the rough stone scraping her shoulders and back. On the other side, what she saw made her gasp. Vast chamber had been hollowed out of the asteroid's core. In the center stood a massive structure, a ring-shaped device larger than any machine Maya had ever seen. Murakari workers moved around it, making final adjustments. The device hummed with energy, creating a sound that Maya could feel in her bones. She watched in horror as the center of the ring began to shimmer, like heat rising from hot pavement. The shimmer grew stronger, turning into a swirling vortex of light. Maya realized what she was seeing, some kind of portal or gateway. And from the way the Murakari were acting, it was almost ready to activate. She quickly squeezed back through the crack to rejoin the others. "We have to destroy that thing," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "It's a gateway, a portal to somewhere else. I think they're planning to bring their entire fleet through it right into the heart of human space." Crystalline Song's body pulsed with alarm. "If that's true, there won't be enough time for your people to prepare. The Murakari fleet is vast. Thousands of ships, each capable of destroying a planet." Maya looked around at the frightened faces of her companions, then at her toolkit. An idea began to form in her mind. "We may not be warriors," she said, "but this is a mining station. And if there's one thing miners know how to do, it's how to bring down a lot of rock very quickly. She opened her toolkit and began sorting through explosive charges meant for breaking up mineral deposits. I think it's time we showed these Murakari why attacking a human mining operation was a very, very bad idea. The first Murakari ships emerged from hyperspace near Jupiter. Their dark hulls absorbed light rather than reflected it, making them look like moving shadows against the stars. There were 20 of them in this first wave, each larger than Earth's. Biggest battleships, they expected to find a civilization bound by Concord restrictions on military technology. Instead, they encountered humanity's greatest deception. As the Murakari fleet moved forward, orbital platforms around Jupiter's moons, which alien inspectors had been told were simple communication relays, transformed. Panels slid open to reveal weapon arrays. Energy shields flickered to life around them. Admiral Okafor watched from the bridge of the EDF Dauntless as the defensive systems activated. "All ships in position," reported Lieutenant Park. "Jupiter defense grid is online." Okafor nodded. "Now we show them what Deathworlders can do. All ships engage according to Plan Thunderbolt." Earth's ships didn't move in the precise, orderly formations that were standard in conquered battles. Instead, they scattered in seemingly random patterns, each following its own path. To an observer familiar with conquered tactics, it would have appeared chaotic, even desperate. But it wasn't chaos. It was how humans had fought wars for thousands of years. The Murakari ships fired first, energy beams slicing through space toward the human vessels. Most of the beams hit nothing as the Earth ships continued their unpredictable movements. "Return fire," ordered Okafor. Earth's ships and defense platforms attacked from multiple directions at once. Some fired conventional energy weapons. Others launched swarms of small drones that attached themselves to the Murakari hulls before exploding. Still others deployed electronic warfare systems that confused the enemy's targeting computers. On one of the smaller human ships, the Harrier, Captain Sophia Chen, no relation to Commander Chen, watched her tactical display with satisfaction. The Murakari ships were trying to form a standard attack pattern, the same kind used by conquered forces for centuries. "They think we fight like the Concorde," she said to her tactical officer. "They don't understand that humans never stopped fighting among ourselves. We have more experience with war than any conquered species." It was true. While most conquered species had known only peace for thousands of years, humans had continued to develop military tactics and technology even after joining the galactic community. It wasn't something they were proud of, but now that dark history was becoming their greatest advantage. Meanwhile, on Ceres Deep, Maya Takahashi worked quickly to set explosive charges around the chamber containing the Murakari gateway. Her plan was simple but dangerous. Collapse the tunnels around the device, burying it under thousands of tons of rock. "We need to place the charges at these structural weak points," she explained to her team, pointing to a rough map she had drawn. "The explosion will trigger a chain reaction through the asteroid's fault lines." Raj looked concerned. "Maya, if we cause that kind of collapse, we might break the entire asteroid apart." "That's a risk we'll have to take," she replied. "If that gateway activates and brings in the main Murakari fleet, Earth won't stand a chance." Crystalline Song moved forward, its crystalline body reflecting the dim tunnel lights. "I will help place charges in the section nearest to the gateway. My body can withstand more radiation than yours." Maya hesitated. Despite working together, she still wasn't sure if she fully trusted the alien. But time was running out, and they needed all the help they could get. "All right," she agreed, "but be careful. We'll need to detonate remotely and get to the emergency ships quickly." As they worked, setting explosives in key locations around the massive chamber, Maya couldn't help but think about how strange her situation was. A few months ago, she had been an ordinary mining engineer. Now she was planting bombs to stop an ancient alien threat alongside a creature from another world. On Earth, Dr. Ndidi had transformed her laboratory into a production facility for lighthouse devices. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock to build as many as possible. "We need to distribute these to all human settlements," Ndidi told Commander Chen, who had come to check on their progress. "Even a small device can create a protective zone where Murakari can't operate comfortably." Chen examined one of the completed devices. How many can you make? With current resources? Maybe a few thousand. But I've simplified the design so that any basic manufacturing facility can produce them. I've sent the plans to all Earth colonies. Chen nodded approvingly. Good work, Doctor. This could be the edge we need. She turned to leave but paused at the door. The Phantoms have made contact with several uncompromised alien groups. They're sending data back about resistance movements forming throughout conquered space. It seems we're not the only ones fighting back. Back in space, the battle near Jupiter was turning in humanity's favor. The Murakari ships, though powerful, were struggling against Earth's unconventional tactics. 7 enemy vessels had been destroyed, while human losses were minimal. But this was only the first wave. Admiral Okafor knew more would come. His communications officer looked up from her station. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Ceres Deep. It's patchy, but it's definitely coming from inside the mining station. Put it through, Okafor ordered. Maya's voice came through, breaking up with static. Discovered a Murakari gateway. Attempting to destroy might break apart the asteroid. Need immediate evacuation of nearby space. Okafor immediately understood the implications. All ships near Ceres, pull back to safe distance. Inform Mars Command of possible debris. Threat. On Ceres Deep, Maya and her team finished placing the last explosives. They had worked quickly, staying hidden from Murakari patrols. All charges set, Raj reported, returning from his section of tunnels. Timer is ready. Maya checked her map one last time. We need to get to the emergency ships on level 3. Once we're clear of the asteroid, we'll detonate. As they began moving toward the escape route, alarms suddenly blared throughout the tunnels. A mechanical voice announced, "Gateway activation sequence initiated. All personnel clear the chamber." Maya's heart sank. They're starting it up early. We need to move. Now. The group ran through the tunnels, heading for the escape ships. Behind them, they could hear the hum of the gateway growing louder, making the very rock around them vibrate. As they reached level 3, they encountered a Murakari patrol. The aliens were tall, with pale skin stretched over elongated limbs. Their faces had no features except for 3 glowing blue eyes arranged in a triangle. Crystalline Song stepped forward, its body glowing brightly as it absorbed energy from the lights around them. It released the energy in a blinding flash that disoriented the Murakari, allowing the humans to rush past. They reached the emergency ship bay with the Murakari close behind. As Maya's team boarded the small vessels, she realized Crystalline Song was not with them. "Where's the Zalaxian?" she asked, looking around frantically. Raj pointed back toward the corridor. "It's holding them off. It said it would join us in the second ship." Maya watched as Crystalline Song used its body to block the corridor, flashing. Pulses of energy that kept the Murakari at bay. But the alien was clearly weakening, its light growing dimmer with each flash. "We can't wait," Raj said urgently. "The gateway is powering up. If we don't leave now, we'll all die here." With a heavy heart, Maya sealed the ship's door. The small vessel launched, breaking free of the asteroid's weak gravity and moving quickly away from Ceres. As they reached what Maya hoped was a safe distance, she activated the detonator. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, Ceres Deep erupted, with light as the explosives detonated in sequence. The asteroid seemed to bulge outward before breaking apart in a spectacular explosion. The force was far greater than Maya had calculated. The mining explosives had triggered something else, perhaps the gateway's power source. Pieces of the asteroid scattered in all directions. Among them, Maya could see the remains of the gateway, now twisted and broken. And something else. Ships. Dozens of Murakari vessels that had been waiting on the other side of the portal, now drifting dead in space, caught in the explosion as they began to emerge. "Did we do it?" Raj asked, watching the destruction through the ship's viewport. Maya nodded slowly. "We stopped their invasion force, but this is just the beginning." As their small ship headed toward Mars, Maya thought about Crystalline Song and its sacrifice. Perhaps there was hope for understanding between species after all. if they survived this war. In the wreckage of Ceres, the gateway that would have brought the Murakari Armada into human space floated in pieces. The first major battle had been won, but the Deathworlders' fight for survival was just beginning. 6 months into what was now being called the Infiltration War, humanity had learned much about their ancient enemy. Every captured or killed Murakari provided valuable information about their biology, technology, and tactics. Maya Takahashi had become a hero after the destruction of the Ceres Gateway. Now she led a special engineering team on Mars Base 1, the largest human settlement outside of Earth. The room was filled with humans and aliens working side by side, something that would have been unimaginable a year ago. The problem, Maya explained, pointing to a holographic display, is that most alien species can't use human weapons. Their bodies aren't built for it. Around her stood representatives from 7 different species that had escaped Murakari control. Some had fled their homeworlds when they discovered their leaders had been replaced. Others were from resistance, movements that had formed across conquered space. Among them was a young Zalaxian named Crystal Light Through Storm, who had arrived at Mars Base 1 with shocking news. Crystalline Song of Memory had survived the Ceres explosion and managed to reach the Zalaxian resistance. The older Zalaxian had sent its offspring to help forge an alliance with humans. Our weapon designs assume human strength, human reflexes, and human senses, Maya continued. We need to create interfaces that translate human battle systems into forms that you can use. A Plovarian, its feathers glowing a determined blue, stepped forward. Our species has excellent eyesight but weak physical strength. We could operate targeting systems. A Medusan with 7 eyes and multiple tentacles spoke next. And we can manipulate many controls at once. We could help with complex ship operations. Maya smiled. For centuries, the Concord had kept species separate, each developing technologies suited only for themselves. This enforced specialization had made them all vulnerable to the Murakari. Now cooperation was proving far more effective. Let's get to work, she said. We have ships to modify. On Earth, Admiral Okafor met with the Combined Military Command. The large room was filled with screens showing battles happening across the galaxy. Some showed victories, others defeats. The Murakari are adapting to our tactics, Okafor said. But we're learning from each engagement. And now, with Dr. Ndidi's improved detection technology, we can identify their command ships. Dr. Ndidi, now the head of an entire research division, stood to speak. The lighthouse technology has been miniaturized and mass-produced. We've distributed it to all our allied forces and resistance groups across conquered space. She held up a small device that could fit in a pocket. This version can scan an entire room and identify any Murakari present, even those disguised as other species. The larger version, mounted on our ships, can scan entire space stations or small moons. Commander Chen, recently promoted to Admiral Chen, pulled up a new display showing 18 locations across the galaxy. With this detection technology, we've identified key Murakari strongholds. We're calling our next operation Thunderstrike. Simultaneous. Attacks on all 18 locations. The room fell silent. Such a complex, coordinated campaign would have been considered impossible under traditional conquered military doctrine. The timing must be precise. Chen continued. If we hit all targets at once, they won't be able to reinforce each other. We'll have alien allies joining each attack force, providing knowledge of local space and Concord technologies we're still learning to use. Okafor nodded. It's ambitious, but human military history is full of such coordinated campaigns. We've been practicing this kind of warfare against ourselves for thousands of years. Across the galaxy, on a conquered battle station orbiting a gas giant in the Arcturus system, Commander Asim Khan and his team of Phantoms moved silently through maintenance corridors. Their adaptive camouflage suits changed color and texture to match their surroundings, making them nearly invisible. For 6 months, Khan's team had been gathering allies, connecting resistance groups, and sabotaging Murakari operations. Now they were on their most important mission yet, to reach Grand Arbiter Thogzari, one of the few high-ranking Concord officials not compromised by the Murakari. Security checkpoint ahead, whispered Lieutenant Rodriguez, checking her scanner. 4 guards, all armed. Khan studied the corridor layout on his datapad. There's no way around. We'll have to go through them. How do we know this Thochari isn't a Murakari agent? Asked Sergeant Wu Khan, patted the lighthouse device at his belt. We'll know as soon as we scan him. If he's clean, he has the authority to broadcast to all Concord worlds. With the evidence we've collected, he can alert everyone to the infiltration. The Phantoms moved into position. Years of training on Earth's most dangerous terrains had prepared them for this moment. They struck quickly and silently, neutralizing the guards without raising an alarm. 10 minutes later, they reached Thochari's private chambers. The Grand Arbiter was a Talarian, a tall, thin being with pale blue skin and 4 arms. He seemed unsurprised by their arrival. I've been expecting someone from Earth, Thochari said, his voice deep and resonant. Though I admit, I didn't expect you to reach me undetected. Khan activated the lighthouse device, which scanned Thochari thoroughly. The readout confirmed, not a Murakari. Grand Arbiter, Khan said, lowering his weapon. We need your help. We have proof of the Murakari infiltration. Recordings, biological samples, intercepted communications. Thochari nodded sadly. I have suspected something was wrong for months. Many of my colleagues began acting strangely, making decisions that went against centuries of conquered principles, but I lacked proof. Khan connected his datapad to the station's communication system. Now you have it, and the authority to warn everyone. With Thochari's access codes, they broadcast the evidence to all conquered worlds. The revelation caused immediate chaos. Some species checked their leadership for imposters right away, while others refused to believe the message. The conquered, which had stood united for 3,000 years, began to splinter, just as the Murakari launched their full invasion. Throughout conquered space, humans who had been living and working on alien worlds became crucial in organizing resistance. Their Deathworld instincts, heightened awareness of threats, quick decision-making under pressure, and adaptability to rapidly changing circumstances proved invaluable as panic spread among species that had known only peace for millennia. An agricultural world called Verdant, Amanda Cole had been a human botanist studying alien plants. Now she led a mixed group of aliens and human researchers in defending their research station against Murakari attackers. They'll come from multiple directions, she told the frightened aliens. We need to prepare traps, establish fallback positions, and set up crossfire zones. The aliens looked confused. These concepts were foreign to beings that had never needed to think about warfare. Amanda smiled grimly. Don't worry. Humans have been fighting enemies stronger than ourselves since we first picked up stones as weapons. We'll teach you. All across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. Humans who had been miners, scientists, traders, and tourists found themselves becoming military advisors, teaching survival skills that came naturally to Deathworlders but were unknown to species raised in peace. Back on Mars Base 1, Maya's team had completed modifications on the first joint human-alien vessel. The ship, named Unity, combined human weapon systems with alien technology. Maya watched as mixed crews boarded the vessel, humans working alongside beings they had once considered enemies. Crystal Light Through Storm approached her. My parent wishes me to tell you something important. Before the series explosion, it discovered that the Murakari have a central hive ship where their leadership gathers. If we could strike there, we might end this war. Maya felt hope rising. Where is this hive ship? That's the problem, the young Zalaxian replied, its crystalline body reflecting the red Martian sunlight. It's hidden somewhere in uncharted space, but my parent believes that information about its location exists in the main Murakari fortress on Zelax Prime, my homeworld. Maya immediately contacted Admiral Chen with this information. Within hours, Operation Thunderstrike was modified to include a special mission targeting Zelax Prime. Chen would personally lead the strike team, consisting of Phantoms and Special Forces from 7 different species, including Zelaxians. Their goal, to infiltrate the fortress, find the location of the Murakari hive ship, and transmit it to the Allied fleet. As the mission date approached, Chen met with her team one last time. Among them was Crystal Light Through Storm, who would guide them through Zalaxian territory. This mission is likely one way, Chen told them honestly. The fortress is heavily guarded. Even if we succeed in finding the information, escape will be difficult. A Plevarian warrior, its feathers glowing with determination, spoke up. 6 months ago, we were enemies because of Murakari manipulation. Today, we fight together. If this is to be our final mission, let it be one that future generations remember, the day Deathworlders and their allies changed the course of galactic history. Chen looked around at the diverse group, beings from worlds so different they once thought they could never understand each other. Now they were united in a common cause. For Earth, for Zalax, for all our worlds, she said simply. As Operation Thunderstrike began across the galaxy, 18 battles erupted thus. Admiral Okafor stood on the bridge of the EDF Justice, Earth's newest and most powerful warship. Through the main viewport, he could see hundreds of vessels gathered, ships from Earth, Mars, and a dozen alien worlds, all preparing for the final battle. All fleet commanders report ready, Lieutenant Park announced. Her uniform was different now, bearing both Earth's insignia and the new symbol of the Alliance, a stylized galaxy with stars of different colors representing the member species. Okafor nodded. And the mission to Zalax Prime? Admiral Chen reports, success. They've transmitted the coordinates of the Murakari homeworld. A cheer went up from the bridge crew. For 3 days, Chen's team had been out of contact after infiltrating the Murakari fortress on Zalax Prime. Many had feared the worst. Open a channel to all ships, Okafor ordered. When the communication system was ready, he spoke with a clear, strong voice. This is Admiral Okafor to all Alliance vessels. Today, we strike at the heart of our enemy. For 3,000 years, the Murakari have manipulated galactic civilization from the shadows. They created the Concord not to bring peace but to keep us weak and divided. He paused, looking at the diverse bridge crew around him. Humans working alongside beings from worlds Earth had barely known existed a year ago. But they made one crucial mistake. They underestimated the Deathworlders. They thought our strength lay only in our bodies shaped by Earth's harsh environment. They didn't understand that our true strength comes from our spirit, our refusal to surrender even when victory seems impossible. On screens throughout the fleet, crews of all species listened to Okafor's words. And now that spirit has spread to all of you. Together we've learned from each other, fought for each other, and some have died for each other. Whatever happens today, remember this. We are no longer humans and aliens. We are the Alliance, and we will be free. As the fleet prepared to jump to the coordinates of the hidden Murakari homeworld, Maya Takahashi worked frantically in the engineering section of the Unity. The ship had taken damage in an earlier battle, and repairs were still underway. Power coupling on Deck 5 is still unstable, Raj reported. After the series incident, he had stayed by Maya's side, becoming her chief assistant. Redirect power through the secondary systems, Maya ordered. We need weapons and shields at full capacity when we reach the target. Beside her, Crystal Light Through Storm monitored the alien technology integrated into the ship's systems. The young Zalaxian had proven invaluable, helping bridge the gap between human and alien engineering principles. Maya, the crystalline, being chimed softly. I've received a message from Admiral Chen. My parent was with her team on Zalax Prime. Maya looked up from her work. Is Crystalline Song okay? Crystal Light's body dimmed slightly. The team was surrounded after sending the coordinates. They made a last stand to prevent the Murakari from warning their homeworld. Maya closed her eyes briefly. Another friend lost to this war. They died so we could finish this, she said finally. Let's make sure their sacrifice wasn't in vain. The Justice led the Alliance fleet through the jump to uncharted space. When they emerged, they faced a sight no one had seen for 3,000 years. The true Murakari homeworld. It orbited a red dwarf star, its surface covered with massive structures that gleamed with an unnatural blue light, and surrounding it was the complete Murakari armada. thousands of ships arranged in perfect formation. "They're waiting for us," Okafor said grimly. "They knew we'd find them eventually." For 3 days, the Battle of Reckoning raged across the Murakari system. Ships from both sides were destroyed by the hundreds. Weapon systems from a dozen cultures clashed with the desperate defenses of an ancient enemy fighting for survival. On the second day, the Unity, under Maya's command, led a daring attack on the Murakari's orbital defense grid. Using a combination of human tactics and alien technology, they breached the outer defenses, creating an opening for other Alliance ships. "We can't keep this up much longer," Raj warned, as the Unity shook from another hit. "Half our systems are failing." Maya knew he was right. Despite the Alliance's courage, the Murakari were simply too numerous. Their ships kept coming, wave after wave, while Alliance vessels fell one by one. "There's one option left," Maya said, opening a secure channel to Admiral Okafor. "Project Lighthouse." Okafor's face appeared on the screen, his expression grim, but determined. "Are you certain? We don't know if it will work on this scale." "It's our only chance," Maya replied. "Dr. Ndidi's team designed it to be amplified. If we can get close enough to their central hive ship, we can trigger a chain reaction that will affect all Murakari simultaneously." After a moment's consideration, Okafor nodded. "Do it. We'll create a diversion to get you through." The plan was set in motion. As the main Alliance fleet engaged the Murakari in a massive frontal assault, the Unity and 3 other ships broke away, using the chaos as cover to approach the massive hive ship at the center of the Murakari formation. "Prepare. Project Lighthouse," Maya ordered. Technicians rushed to activate the special device installed in the Unity's core, an amplified version of Dr. Ndidi's invention, designed not merely to detect Murakari, but to disrupt their biology at its core. "We need to get closer," Crystal Light said, monitoring the device's power levels. "The hive ship's shields are too strong at this distance." Maya nodded grimly. "All power to forward shields and engines. We're going to ram our way in." The Unity accelerated toward the hive ship, taking hit after hit as Murakari vessels tried to stop them. 2 of their escort ships were destroyed. The third fell back, heavily damaged. "Shields failing," Raj reported, his voice steady despite the danger. "Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. "Just a little closer," Maya urged, her hands gripping the command chair as the ship shuddered around her. The Unity crashed through the hive ship's outer defenses, its hull scraping against the larger vessel's surface. Warning alarms blared throughout. The ship's systems failed one after another. "Now," Maya shouted. Crystal Light activated Project Lighthouse. The device pulsed once, twice, 3 times, each pulse stronger than the last. A wave of energy spread outward from the Unity, washing over the hive ship and beyond. On the bridge of the Justice, Okafor watched in awe as a ripple of blue light expanded from the point where the Unity had made contact with the hive ship. The energy wave passed through ships and structures without affecting them, but wherever it touched a Murakari, the effect was immediate. Murakari ships began to drift aimlessly. The perfect formation broke apart as their pilots lost control. On screens monitoring Murakari communications, the constant stream of signals faded to silence. "What happened?" Lieutenant Park asked, stunned by the sudden change. Okafor understood. Project Lighthouse worked. It wasn't just a detection system. It was a weapon designed to disrupt Murakari neural patterns. They're not dead, but their hive consciousness is shattered. With the Murakari temporarily paralyzed, Alliance forces quickly gained the upper hand. Within hours, they had breached the hive ship's core and destroyed the central node that linked all Murakari minds together. Tirin, war that had threatened all free species was over, ended by a device created by a human scientist who understood the Murakari's greatest weakness: their sensitivity to Earth's natural radiation. 1 month later, representatives from hundreds of species gathered on neutral ground, a beautiful garden world that had never been part of the Conquered. They came to form a new interstellar covenant, one based on true cooperation, rather than the hidden control of the Murakari. Admiral Chen, recovered from her injuries on Zalax Prime, addressed the founding assembly as Earth's ambassador. Despite her military background, she had been chosen for her understanding of both human and alien perspectives. "We came from a world that tried to kill us every day," Chen told the gathered delegates, her voice carrying across the vast assembly hall. "A world that shaped us through fire and struggle. You feared what that made us, and perhaps rightly so." She paused, looking out at the faces and sensory organs of 100 different species. "But today we offer you not just the strength that forged us, but the compassion that defined us. We survived our death world not by conquering it, but by learning to live within it. A lesson this galaxy needs now more than ever." The new covenant established that day included principles unheard of in the old Concord: mutual defense, technological, sharing, and cultural exchange without restrictions. Species that had once looked down on Deathworlders now sent their brightest minds to Earth to learn, while humans traveled throughout the galaxy, helping rebuild worlds devastated by the conflict. Maya Takahashi, honored as one of the heroes of the war, chose to remain on the Unity. The ship, repaired and improved, became a symbol of cooperation, continuing to explore the galaxy with its mixed crew of humans and aliens. On one quiet evening, as the Unity orbited a newly discovered world, Maya stood with crystal light in the observation dome, watching the planet's 3 moons rise over a purple ocean. "My parent would have loved to see this," Crystal Light said softly. Maya nodded. Crystal and Song wanted a galaxy where all species could learn from each other. In a way, that's what we're building now. In the Great Hall of the new Galactic Alliance, a memorial wall honored those who